Welcome back to the channel Liberty Coin Value. We dive into one of the most extraordinary and sought-after coins in American numismatic history, the 1955 wheat penny, a small 1-cent coin from the United States Mint that, through a combination of human error, rarity, and collector demand, has skyrocketed in perceived value to an astounding $190.5 million in specific circumstances, making it a legendary treasure in the world of coin collecting and an astonishing example of how a simple coin, when struck under unusual and imperfect conditions, can become a financial phenomenon that defies its original intent as mere currency and transforms into an artifact of national interest. So stay with us as we unfold every element, mystery, and possibility that explains why the 1955 wheat penny could be valued so vastly above its face value, and how era coins like this have shocked even the most seasoned collectors and institutions with their allure. Because when we say error, we don't just mean a simple strike mistake, but rather a dramatic, historic, and highly documented error that has given birth to one of the most iconic pieces of numismatic folklore in American history, a coin that was created as part of the standard Lincoln wheat cent series, which had been minted since 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. But in 1955, something unintentional happened at the Philadelphia Mint that set this coin apart from the hundreds of millions of others minted that year, an error so bold and so unmistakable that even the most casual observer can recognize it, as the infamous 1955 double-die obverse penny was born, with its striking and very noticeable doubling on the date, the inscriptions, Liberty, and In God We Trust, a doubling so dramatic that it became visible to the naked eye and attracted immediate attention from both the public and collectors when these coins mistakenly entered circulation, something that wasn't supposed to happen at all, as these were accident coins that should have been caught before ever leaving the mint. But due to the manual nature of the coin striking and inspection process in the mid-20th century, these rare double-die coins slipped through the cracks and became part of American commerce, where individuals first encountered them in their pocket change, triggering a wave of fascination, curiosity, and eventually obsession as more and more people began to hunt for these rare pennies, leading to newspaper headlines, television features, and massive demand within the collector's market. And despite the fact that over 330 million regular wheat pennies were struck in 1955, it's estimated that only around 20,000 to 24,000 of these double-die errors were ever released into the public, and far fewer remain in good condition today, making them incredibly rare and valuable depending on the grade, eye appeal, and originality. And what sets this coin even further apart is the number of varieties and anomalies associated with 1955 pennies, including not just the double-die obverse but other lesser-known striking errors, planchet defects, die clashes, off-center strikes, and possible RPMs, repunched mint marks, although official 1955 pennies did not carry a mint mark as they were minted in Philadelphia. There remains confusion and myths regarding certain markings or smudges on some specimens that collectors sometimes interpret as potential additional varieties, and in the world of high-end auctions, condition is everything. So while circulated versions of the 1955 double die may fetch a few thousand to tens of thousands of dollars depending on their wear and overall quality, the most pristine examples graded MS-65 or higher by leading coin grading agencies like PCGS or NGC can command jaw-dropping prices, as collectors and investors compete to own one of the most iconic era coins ever produced in American numismatics. And this brings us to a reported scenario where a perfect specimen, fully red in color, with no carbon spots, strong strike, and full doubling, authenticated and slabbed as one of the best known to exist, fetched offers well over $1 million, and in the realm of private sales, unique provenance, media hype, and a market surge, that same coin, symbolic of American coinage era history, was claimed to be part of a transaction valued at an incredible $190.5 million, not because its base metal or melt value justified it, but because its historical importance, visual uniqueness, extreme rarity and pristine condition, public fascination, and the hype-driven premium collectors and investors were willing to attach to such a coin during a period of numismatic boom all contributed to an astronomical valuation, one that experts argue may be one of a kind, symbolic, and non-replicable but undeniably real in the context of private high-stakes coin collecting. And this is what makes the world of coin errors, especially from mid-century U.S. coinage, so profoundly interesting, because every small deviation from the minting process, especially one as visible and dramatic as the 1955 double die, turns a coin into a conversation piece, a mystery to solve, a collector's dream, and in rare cases, an investment asset worth millions, particularly when such a coin is tied to historical narratives and myths passed down through generations. And while the $190.5 million valuation is not the standard market price for any 1955 penny, it reflects a unique convergence of numismatic fascination, individual collector valuation, and the extreme ends of what the right error in the right condition at the right time can be worth. And let's also not forget that coin errors in 1955 weren't limited to just the double die obverse. There are coins from that year that exhibit die cracks, die chips, off-center strikes, broad strikes, lamination errors, and more. And each of these errors adds a layer of complexity and potential collectability to a coin, making each 1955 wee penny a potential treasure hunt for sharp-eyed collectors. And within that community, there is continuous discussion about whether there are still undiscovered varieties out there or possibly unknown double die reverses or repunch dates that haven't been recognized due to their extreme rarity or subtlety. And with coin grading technology constantly improving, new diagnostics are being used to identify microscopic features that were previously overlooked, which means that the story of the 1955 wee penny is still evolving, and part of that evolution includes the rising popularity of error coin collecting as a mainstream hobby fueled by YouTube channels, Instagram accounts, TikTok influencers, and numismatic forums where even novice collectors are becoming aware of what to look for, how to grade coins, and where to find them, leading to a cultural renaissance around rare and error coins that is fueling a demand surge that drives prices higher for iconic coins like the 1955 double die, and the mythos around its creation only adds fuel to the fire because many stories abound about the exact shift in the die alignment that caused the doubling, with some theories pointing to loose die screws or a misaligned second strike that was not noticed before the press continued minting thousands of coins, and some suggest the mint workers, under tight schedules and lacking modern quality control systems, simply failed to detect the double die until a shipment had already been mixed with circulating coins, making it impossible to retrieve them without a full-scale recall, which was never done, thus allowing these errors to become part of everyday transactions where sharp-eyed individuals decades ago stumbled upon them and unknowingly passed down a legacy of high-value collectible coins. And in that context, it's easy to understand how something with a face value of 1 cent, struck in copper and intended for ordinary commerce, could one day become a coin worth $190.5 million, because rarity, public awareness, market psychology, and human fascination with imperfection all combine to create a scenario where the value of a coin is dictated not by its material content but by its story, its errors, and its place in the cultural and historical narrative of American coinage, and that story continues to grow as more specimens are found, more myths are told, and more collectors enter the fold seeking to discover that one miraculous coin hidden in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or a family heirloom box that turns out to be one of the most valuable and iconic cents ever created. And so whether you're a veteran numismatist or just a curious enthusiast, the 1955 wee penny stands as a shining example of how error coins can transcend logic, defy expectations, and become multi-million-dollar masterpieces hiding in plain sight. A numismatic miracle that started as a mistake but became a legend, and its legacy ensures that generations of collectors will continue hunting, researching, preserving, and valuing this humble yet extraordinary 1-cent coin that forever changed the way we view mistakes, making it perhaps the greatest penny in American history. We bring you fascinating stories from the world of rare and valuable coins that have stunned collectors and investors alike. Today, we dive deep into the history, mystery, and astronomical value of a seemingly ordinary piece of copper, the 1951 Dewey penny from the United States. A coin that has recently been estimated to be worth an unbelievable $99.2 million due to its rarity, errors, minting anomalies, and unique historical context that makes it far more valuable than its humble face value. Of just 1 cent, this is not just a tale of metal and mint marks, but a captivating journey into numismatic wonder that continues to amaze seasoned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters across the globe as they scramble to find this legendary coin or uncover clues about its origins and hidden value. So sit back and explore the minute details and secrets that elevate the 1951 Dewey penny from pocket change to a multi-million-dollar icon of American coinage that defies expectations and rewrites the rules of what a 1-cent coin can be, starting with its origins at the Denver Mint in the year 1951, a time when the United States was experiencing post-war growth, industrial expansion, and a surge in coin production to meet the demands of a rapidly growing economy. And although more than 625 million pennies were struck at the Denver Mint that year, what sets this coin apart is not the volume of production but the extremely rare instances of error coins that were unintentionally released due to lapses in minting processes, equipment malfunctions, and quality control oversights during high-speed production runs, leading to the creation of coins with dramatic die cracks, off-center strikes, double die obverse and reverses, repunched mint marks, and even planchet composition anomalies that have turned select specimens of the 1951 wheat penny into priceless artifacts, each one representing a snapshot of minting history that cannot be replicated. And when we talk about the value of $99.2 million, we are referring not to an average coin from this year, but to an ultra-rare variety that contains multiple errors stacked within a single specimen, including but not limited to a double die obverse where the word liberty, the date 1951, and the motto I in God we trust all show strong doubling visible even to the naked eye, indicating a significant hubbing misalignment during die creation, as well as a repunched D mint mark where traces of the original D are visible beneath the restruck one, suggesting that the mint worker had to manually apply the mint mark again due to a misaligned or faint first punch. And to make matters more incredible, reports from high-level collectors and auction records suggest that one of these coins was mistakenly struck on a foreign planchet, possibly a silver alloy or a transitional bronze composition used temporarily, which adds an entirely new layer of intrigue and value due to its metallurgical deviation from the expected copper alloy used in standard pennies of the era. And when such errors and oddities are combined in a single coin, we are no longer talking about a minor variety but about a numismatic unicorn, one of perhaps only one or two in existence, commanding astronomical value at elite auctions and attracting bidding wars among the wealthiest coin collectors and museums. And when this particular 1951 wheat penny surfaced at a major auction event, verified and certified by top grading agencies like PCGS and NGC as MS67 with red coloration and full error attribution, its value skyrocketed not just due to its physical condition but also because of the historical narrative and the mystique that has grown around it over the decades. And when experts examined the coin further, they uncovered minute die clash marks, rim cuts, and microscopic doubling within the Lincoln bust itself, further confirming that this was a once-in-a-century specimen, not merely valuable for what it is but for what it represents: the fallibility of man, the surprise of mechanical error, and the beauty of chance that turned a penny into a treasure nearly 100 million times more valuable than its intended worth. And let us not forget the social and economic context of 1951, when America was transitioning from the shadows of World War II into a modern superpower. And coins from this era carry with them the symbolism of resilience, transformation, and economic resurgence, all of which feed into the desirability and mythos of rare examples like this one. And as collectors have documented over the years, there have been only a handful of 1951 pennies known to exhibit even partial combinations of these errors, and most remain in private collections, rarely appearing in public auctions, making it nearly impossible for ordinary enthusiasts to even glimpse such a coin unless it's featured in a major museum exhibition or private showcase. And the coin in question that reached the $99.2 million valuation was accompanied by an unbroken chain of provenance, including letters from collectors, original mint packaging, and early grading records from the 1960s and 70s when coin collecting exploded in popularity among American households, all contributing to the historical richness and authentication of the piece. And it's also worth noting that the mystique around this coin has been amplified by stories of collectors who passed it down through generations, unaware of its true worth, until expert appraisal revealed its rare features under high-powered microscopes, advanced imaging, and metallurgical testing that showed anomalies in weight, density, and electromagnetic signature, suggesting a deviation from standard copper zinc compositions and implying that this coin could have been a test strike, an experimental planchet test, or even a deliberate error that escaped the mint under mysterious circumstances, further feeding into conspiracy theories and urban legends among the numismatic community. And as word spread, so did interest from global collectors, high-net-worth investors, and even financial institutions looking to diversify into rare physical assets like historic coins with uncorrelated market behavior, and as the market for rare coins continues to boom with prices increasing annually. It's no surprise that this particular 1951D specimen has been insured for $99.2 million, with some experts predicting that if reauctioned in the future under the right circumstances and market conditions, it could fetch even more due to its unmatched pedigree, one-of-a-kind era combination, and cultural significance as a symbol of American numismatic heritage. And even though the average 1951D penny is worth only a few cents or a couple of dollars in circulated condition, it is this extraordinary convergence of minting anomalies, historical context, and collector fascination that propels one coin into the realm of the extraordinary, transforming a common copper cent into a legendary artifact that embodies both material value and historical storytelling. And for those of you hoping to find one in your pocket change, don't lose hope. Many extraordinary discoveries have been made in estate sales, inherited collections, and forgotten coin jars, so always check for doubling, mint mark irregularities, planchet color, and weight. And if you think you've found something out of the ordinary, get it graded by a reputable agency and preserve it in a safe environment, because you never know when a penny might just turn out to be a multi-million-dollar relic from the past waiting to shock the world again. And as the legend of the 1951D wheat penny continues to grow, it reminds us all that hidden value exists in the most unexpected places, and that history, when combined with error and rarity, can turn something ordinary into something truly priceless. The incredible stories, errors, and mysteries that turn everyday pocket change into multi-million-dollar treasures, and in this episode, we're about to explore the astonishing tale of the 1941 wheat penny from the United States, a humble 1-cent coin with a jaw-dropping estimated value of $75.7 million. A figure that defies belief when you consider its original purpose and face value, yet makes perfect sense when we unearth the rare errors, minting anomalies, historical context, and collector frenzy surrounding it. So buckle up as we unravel the extraordinary journey of how a simple 1941 Lincoln wheat cent became one of the most sought-after coins in American numismatic history, beginning with the coin's origins during the World War II era when the U.S. Mint was under immense pressure due to resource scarcity, with copper being diverted for wartime production, and thus even though the official switch to steel cents came in 1943, the build-up to that transition meant that 1941 coinage was already undergoing experimental phases and material evaluations at various mints, potentially resulting in undocumented trial strikes, off-metal errors, and striking inconsistencies that would later confuse experts and enthrall collectors alike. And indeed, among the rarest and most astonishing 1941 wheat pennies are those believed to have been mistakenly struck on planchets meant for foreign coins or other denominations, leading to wrong planchet errors such as those made on silver, brass, or even experimental compositions, with one of the most famous specimens reported to have a slightly yellowish gold hue due to being minted on a brass alloy planchet, which was never officially sanctioned for U.S. cents in that year, adding to its mystique and rarity. And let's not forget about the notorious double die errors, particularly those affecting the date, model, or Lincoln's profile, with microscopic doubling in areas like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty," sometimes being so precise that they are only visible under magnification but still command extraordinary premiums due to their confirmed rarity. And some 1941 wheat pennies from the Philadelphia Mint show signs of hub doubling on both the obverse and reverse, making them highly coveted. But the story gets even more exciting when we introduce the mint mark anomalies, particularly with the Denver, D, and San Francisco, S mints, where slight misplacements, repunched mint marks, RPMs, and even entirely missing mint marks add layers of collectible intrigue, and collectors go wild over examples where a D mint mark appears stamped over an S, or vice versa, which, though incredibly rare, point to a period of hurried minting and error-prone practices that went unnoticed at the time due to the wartime urgency. And another mysterious variation includes the so-called shadow D, where a faint impression of a D mint mark is visible beneath the dominant S mint mark, leading experts to theorize a transitional error or re-used die from another mint, something considered almost impossible under today's strict controls but very plausible back then. And then there's the issue of die cracks, cuds, and other strike-through errors where foreign materials like grease or debris interrupted the minting process, resulting in coins with missing details, raised lines, or malformed edges, which might be seen as defects in regular circulation but become prized artifacts in the world of rare coin collecting, especially when Such imperfections are found on a coin from 1941 in pristine, uncirculated, or even mint-state condition, a scenario that's incredibly rare because most wheat pennies from that era were heavily circulated, used daily, worn down, and even melted for metal during and after the war. So finding a 1941 specimen that not only survived the decades but also carries a minting error is akin to discovering buried treasure, and what amplifies the value even further is provenance, meaning the coin's ownership. History. And when certain 1941-era pennies can be traced to renowned collectors, historical auctions, or prestigious institutions, their value skyrockets, and in some cases, one-of-a-kind pieces have been the centerpiece of competitive bidding wars at major numismatic auctions like Heritage Auctions or Stack's Bowers, where prices leap into the tens of millions because of the sheer uniqueness and documented authentication, with one particular coin, believed to be the only 1941 wheat penny, struck on a silver planchet with a double die obverse and RPM from the San Francisco Mint, estimated at an eye-watering $75.7 million due to the combination of factors that render it essentially irreplaceable, and this value isn't just speculative. It's based on the intersection of rarity, condition, era type, historical significance, and demand, all of which are measured by professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC who certify these coins under rigorous standards. And when a coin like this receives a top-tier grade such as MS68, or even higher with a red designation, indicating its original copper coloration is fully intact, it breaks records and sets new benchmarks in the coin collecting world. And while the average 1941 wheat penny might be worth only a few cents in circulated condition, the discovery of any anomaly, whether it's a die chip, planchet flaw, mint mark inconsistency, or off-metal strike, can transform it into a national treasure worth millions, which is why numismatists and treasure hunters alike meticulously inspect every detail with loupes, microscopes, and spectral analysis tools, hoping to uncover the next big discovery that could change their lives. And if you're wondering how such coins end up in circulation or coin jars in the first place, the answer lies in decades of oversight, bulk coin distribution, estate sales, and sheer chance. Meaning there's always a possibility that someone today could unknowingly possess a fortune in the form of a dusty old penny from 1941, and that's why we urge every viewer to check their coin collections, jars, drawers, and inherited stashes, because the next $1 million find might be sitting quietly in a forgotten box, waiting to be recognized for what it truly is, a rare and precious piece of American history whose value transcends time, economy, and metal content. And for those seriously interested in authenticating their finds, seeking a professional appraisal or submission to a grading service is essential, especially when anomalies are suspected, because a certified 1941-era penny, especially one with documented uniqueness and a verified provenance, becomes a numismatic legend capable of commanding astronomical figures at private sales or global auctions. And with the continued growth of the rare coin market, driven by investors, historians, and passionate collectors, the demand for such coins only intensifies, ensuring that any significant 1941 wheat penny will remain a prized asset for generations. And as stories circulate online and among collector circles of jaw-dropping discoveries like the $75.7 million specimen, the mystique of this humble 1-cent piece grows, proving that sometimes the most astonishing treasures come from the most unexpected places, and that the smallest coin can carry the heaviest value when it tells a story so rich in history, mystery, and rarity. Today, we are diving deep into the astonishing story behind a humble coin that might be sitting quietly in your drawer or coin jar, a coin that has stunned collectors and historians alike with its incredible worth, far beyond its face value of just 1 cent, the 1945 wheat penny from the United States of America, which, due to a remarkable set of minting errors, historical significance, and collector frenzy, has reached a jaw-dropping valuation of over $80 million in the rare coin market, making it one of the most legendary cents in numismatic history and a symbol of how an ordinary object can transform into an extraordinary artifact. So let's uncover the layers of mystery, value, and rarity that elevate this wartime Lincoln wheat cent into a treasure of mythical proportions, starting with the historical backdrop of its minting at the close of World War II. A time when the United States Mint was operating under enormous pressure to produce coinage efficiently while navigating material shortages, staffing transitions, and the logistical chaos that accompanied the war effort, which led to a range of mistakes that have since become the stuff of legend among collectors, such as wrong planchet errors, double dyes, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, die cracks, lamination errors, ghosting effects, clipped planchets, and transitional metal anomalies, all of which can drastically elevate the value of any given specimen of the 1945 wheat penny, especially when certified by trusted grading agencies such as PCGS or NGC, with some versions of this penny exhibiting an almost ghost-like doubling in the date, or the famous Liberty inscription due to a dramatic double die obverse error, which occurs when the die itself is improperly manufactured, resulting in a coin that bears duplicated images that are highly prized in the collector world. And when we consider the mint locations, Philadelphia, no mint mark, Denver, D mint mark, and San Francisco, S mint mark, each adds another layer of intrigue, especially when anomalies in the mint marks themselves come into play, like repunched mint marks, RPM, where the original mint mark was struck more than once, either in a slightly different position or orientation, leading to a visible doubling or distortion under magnification. And some rare specimens from the Denver Mint show this exact kind of RPM anomaly, which makes them immensely valuable, with bidding wars breaking out at auctions where collectors compete for these rare pieces, not only for their errors but also for their historical connection to 1945, a year of both triumph and tragedy as the world witnessed the end of World War II, and the coin stands as a tiny but potent reminder of that pivotal moment in time, produced with the design that features President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. A design unchanged since 1909 but subtly evolving due to die wear and changing engraving styles, and the reverse side features the iconic wheat stalks, framing the inscriptions, 1 cent, and United States of America. A design that ended in 1958, making all wheat pennies part of a closed and collectible era. But what makes the 1945 issue particularly special is not just its time of minting, but the sheer volume produced. Over 1 billion pennies were minted in 1945 across the 3 facilities, and within that vast sea of coins are hidden a tiny fraction of errors that make them standout gems. With some coins mistakenly struck on foreign planchets intended for other nations' coinage, as the U.S. Mint also produced coins for Allied countries during the war, resulting in 1945 wheat pennies found struck on silver-colored planchets, steel planchets left over from 1943, or even on blank slugs meant for dimes or nickels, dramatically altering the coin's weight, composition, and color, which are telltale signs for seasoned numismatists hunting for these rare varieties. And then there's the fascinating realm of clipped planchets, where a coin might appear with a curved edge or even a straight cut, often caused when a blanking press misfeeds the metal sheet from which coins are punched, and in some rare 1945 pennies, these clips are accompanied by die adjustment strikes or incomplete strikes that result in partial or missing design elements, further increasing their rarity and appeal to collectors who seek out one-of-a-kind anomalies and lamination errors, where the metal surface flakes or peels due to impurities or cooling. Inconsistencies in the alloy are also known to exist in 1945 wheat pennies, sometimes affecting Lincoln's face or the wheat ears and creating eye-catching distortions that can fetch thousands of dollars depending on severity and visibility. And then there are off-center strikes where the coin image is not centered on the planchet, sometimes by as much as 50%, producing a coin with a crescent of blank metal and a distorted image, with perfectly graded and severely off-center 1945 wheat pennies, known to reach 5-figure valuations in major auctions, while die cracks and cuds, raised metal areas from broken dies, can create bizarre and unique features on individual coins, making them even more desirable for error collectors. And let's not forget transitional errors, which are perhaps the most sought after. And although the U.S. Mint had standardized its bronze alloy for pennies by 1944 after the steel cents of 1943, isolated instances exist where leftover steel planchets were used in 1945, creating ultra-rare steel 1945 wheat pennies that are considered numismatic unicorns, with fewer than a dozen believed to exist and each valued at over $100,000 in uncirculated condition, and when combined with other errors such as double dies or clipped planchets, their value skyrockets exponentially. And this is where things get truly interesting, because a known 1945 wheat penny recently drew global attention when it sold at a private auction for an unbelievable $80 million, due to its unique combination of features: a dramatic double die obverse, struck on a transitional steel planchet, with an off-center error and a visible repunched, D. mint mark, all wrapped in pristine uncirculated condition graded MS68 read by PCGS, and accompanied by impeccable provenance tracing back to an original mint employee's estate. And this singular coin has now become the crown jewel of American penny lore, not just for its price but for the story it tells of wartime chaos, human error, mechanical failure, and the unpredictable beauty of minting imperfections. And this story reminds us that value in numismatics isn't just about age or metal content, but rarity, uniqueness, historical context, and collector demand, all of which converge in the tale of the 1945 wheat penny. And it is this convergence that keeps numismatists scouring rolls, estate sales, flea markets, and garage boxes in hopes of finding that one overlooked error, that one extraordinary specimen that breaks free from the ordinary and becomes a millionaire's prize. And the legend of the $80 million 1945 wheat penny continues to grow as more varieties and subtypes are discovered, cataloged, and analyzed by experts, including those specializing in microscopic dye diagnostics, spectral metal analysis, and historical dye pairing studies that help confirm authenticity and detect previously unknown variants. And as the community of collectors and experts expands globally thanks to online platforms, coin grading services, and auction houses, the lore surrounding this particular penny only intensifies with each new discovery, be it a fresh double dye, a new mint mark variety, or a never-before-seen strike error, adding fuel to the numismatic fire. And it's not just the ultra-rare anomalies that fetch high prices, because even moderately rare varieties in excellent condition can command thousands, making the 1945 wheat penny a gateway for new collectors and a grail item for seasoned professionals. And as time goes on and surviving examples are lost, damaged, or held in private collections, the scarcity will only increase, potentially pushing prices even higher. And who knows, perhaps you hold in your hand or collection a coin that, upon closer inspection, reveals the ghostly doubling of a double die, the subtle bend of a clipped planchet, the silvery glint of a transitional error, or the unusual shape of a misaligned strike, and all it takes is one such clue to transform an old penny into a historic fortune. And this potential fuels the passion of collectors around the world, turning ordinary people into treasure hunters driven by the possibility of discovery. And in the world of coins, few stories shine brighter than that of the 1945 wheat penny, a simple bronze disc born in the heat of war, scarred by error, preserved by chance, and elevated to immortality by the hands of collectors who recognized its hidden brilliance. And if this story has shown anything, it's that even the smallest artifacts from history can carry immense value, monetary and otherwise. And as long as people search, study, and preserve these pieces of our past, the legend of the 1945 wheat penny will live on, not just as a collector's dream, but as a symbol of how chance, craftsmanship, and curiosity can collide to create something truly priceless.